My name is Michael Moore. I'm a woodworker. I live in Nacogdoches. I've been doing woodworking for about the last 20 years. Serious woodworking for the last 12, 13, 14 years, something like that. My main tool of choice is the scroll saw. We're going to be cutting a couple of pieces of scroll art this morning. For those of you who don't know what a scroll saw is a machine that has a tiny blade, stays stationary, stays in one place, and you move the piece of wood around it. The way that you use the scroll saw is you start with a design that you've created, which is basically a stencil, so that when you get done cutting, nothing falls off. Falling off is a bad thing. You use a spray adhesive, hook it onto a piece of wood. My style of cutting is I use 4 pieces of 1/8 inch Baltic birch. I put the design in based on how it's going to be framed. Use tape it together, use a drill press to drill the holes where the blades are going to be cutting, and then you take it to the scroll saw and you cut the pieces out one piece at a time. So the piece we're going to be using today have 12 to 15 cuts a piece. So when you look at a piece of scroll art, every black space is a space that was cut out one at a time. So that means that you thread the blade through, connect the blade, tension the saw, turn the saw on, cut, stop, turn the blade off, untension the blade, take it out, reposition, do it over and over and over again. So I find it relaxing and fun to do. This type of cutting is called fretwork. There's 2 types of cutting in scroll saw. Positive, where if you cut a hand, you see a hand. Reverse negative is you have a piece of wood and everything, including bits and pieces of the hand, are cut out. So when you look at it, you see the shadows where the hand is at, so that you can actually see it. So when I'm done, we add a piece of black felt to the back and put a matting on it, and it's a piece of finished art. A lot of people like to use thick wood, 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, and they cut one piece at a time. I like to use much thinner wood, much thinner blades, because I can get a whole lot more detail into the piece of wood than if you use a thick piece of wood, you use larger blades. life, I am a technical recruiter, and 18 years ago, I was the lead technical recruiter for Ernst & Young Technical Consulting. And my schedule was I spent a week in Houston, week in Chicago, week in Houston, week in New York, week in Houston, week in Atlanta, week in Houston, week in Chicago, New York, Atlanta. That was my schedule. My birthday is at the beginning of July, and on my birthday, my mother-in-law gave me this big box that had a scroll saw and a pattern book. She says, "You travel too much, you probably don't have any hobbies, you're going to die of a heart attack from working too much. Here's a scroll saw, here's a pattern book, I want 25 presents to give to relatives by Christmas." And I started cutting, and I got the bug. And I kept on cutting and kept on cutting, and my wife said the stuff is piling up, either start selling it or I'm going to start throwing it away. And so I went to church bazaars, little local craft fairs, flea markets around the west side of Houston where we lived, and it sold rather well. And my wife just thought I would take the money and say, "This is fun." Nah, I bought more wood, bigger saws, better saws, and 11 years ago we got accepted into the Texas Renaissance Festival, and we've been doing Renaissance Festivals ever since. And now we do Renaissance Festivals, Comic-Cons, street festivals, and juried art fairs.